In today's experiment, we're going to take the tension of the wires that we explored with the Atwood machine, and we're going to now incorporate some angles and hang objects at different angles and see how the angles can affect what we're doing. We're going to start with 1.5 kilos of weight or mass. So, what I'd like you to do before the experiment is I need you to calculate what tension would be on the string if we had 1.5 kilos hanging and two angles at the top, both 45 degrees. I need you to calculate the tension in the spring and the string. We're going to hang these with springs, but calculate the tension in the strings. So I want you to start by gathering your equipment. So you're going to need a couple weights, so I've got a 1.5 kilo masses here. I've got two scales, Newton scales. I also have a piece of string. And then I've got two ring stands. Now, what I've done as well is I've put a clamp at the top of it, and this will just help us so the strings will hold on to the pole a little bit easier. Okay? So I'm going to hook these on near the top of my poles. And I've got a piece of string, and what I'm going to do is using the loop in the top of my Newton scale, I'm going to hang that at the top of my pole on both sides. Okay. What I can also do, I can turn this around so that the clamp isn't in the way of my Newton scale. So there we are. Got that hanging down. And then I'm going to put my string side to side. Okay. So there we are. We got that all set up. And I can then add some tension to this. Once it comes tight, I can then read my two scales. Okay, so I'm just going to start with a kilo, make sure, actually, I'll start with a half of a kilo, make sure I have a scale. I don't want to damage the springs in my scale. So the half kilo looks good. It barely moved it. Let's go a little bit bigger. Still good. Add a little bit more mass. Okay, so there I have this hanging. And now what I can do is a couple things. One is I can push these further apart. Now, if they start to move, we can add some weights. So I can take something, I can put some textbooks on it or whatever I need to help hold those in place. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to use our protractor. And using our protractor, we can measure some angles. Now, I'm looking on here. I see this is around 10 Newton meters, and I see this one. Bear with me. Is that Newton meters? Yeah, that's in Newton meters. Oh, this one's upside down. Make sure I can read my scale properly. And this one is down around 11. So I can slide the mass over a little bit until those are equal. That one's at 10. Oh, that one's at 11. So I'm a little too far. Okay, so get it so that we're reading equally in the scales. And now if I check my angles should be about the same. Okay, so check my two angles. And I can also check this angle and measure the angles in between. Okay, the other thing I can do is I can put a little twist in my string and just loop it twice, and that'll stop the weight from easily sliding side to side. Okay. So now that I've got that set up, you can see it's a little better. There it is. Okay, what I can now do is I can now slide this over and change the angles. So now what happens to the scale? This one, did this one get bigger, smaller, stay the same? What about this one? Bigger, smaller, stay the same. So what we're going to do is you're going to do 5 different angles, okay, pairs of angles. So we need to know the angle on both sides and the readings in your scale. I want to collect some data and then see if we can make some sense of what's going on here.